Will the run game be on schedule for the UCF Knights this season? Time to check in on it.
You are Locked On UCF, your daily podcast on the UCF Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome on in to Locked On UCF, your daily UCF podcast. I'm your host, Mike G. Turn us on, turn us up. We'll turn it out. I'm here with my good friend Kyle Nash and Andrew Gluchov, senior writers, UCFKnightZone.com. Talk a little UCF of football on this Friday edition. On today's show, we're going to take a look together at Roth Tower 2.0, Kyle. I cannot wait to show everybody, if you haven't seen the pictures already, what a beautiful job what $90 million gets you.
Well, and it's not just the building that'll be hot. How do other people handle the heat when they come into the bounce house?
Yeah, not well, hopefully. But will they be able to handle the heat from this run game? That's where we'll start the show, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. We are the #1 UCF podcast out there. And we need whatever's above #1, we need to be there by the end of the month. We
no
need
pressure.
to be heavenly by the end of August, week 1 versus Bethune-Cookman. I just, before we get started, I just want to thank our listeners. The support has been amazing. I've seen all of your amazing comments complimenting the work that we're doing here. I can't do it alone. Andrew was with me at the start. Kyle and James joined the party, and we are just one big happy family talking UCF football daily. Let's start with the run game, guys. Tavion Swint, Duke Watson, these guys may be carrying the flag for UCF offensively this coming season. We've talked a lot about what we expect at wide receiver, but when you need to control the clock, Andrew, it's the run game is where you turn. Scott Frost was asked a question. Yeah, Scott Frost was asked a question about his running backs and the offensive line. We'll listen to what he had to say, and we'll be right back.
Saw you're working pretty closely with the running backs offensive line today. Was there anything specific you wanted to refine with them, wanted them to learn today?
No, if I see something, I'm going to say something. And, it gets easier and easier when you get through camp. Like, I don't think we're doing this well enough and addressing that with individuals or position groups. And our assistant coaches are doing a great job. Their standards and expectations are great. The effort they got our guys playing with is great. But if I see something that I want fixed, I'm going to step in and do it. And I also give our assistant coaches credit. As good as they are what they do, they don't get their ego bruised if I step in and want it a different way or want to coach them. So I got a really good staff, and they're doing a great job.
Doesn't he sound, Drew, a lot more relaxed and less worrisome this fall camp than last fall camp? I feel like he's settled in. He feels like his coaches are doing a good job. Everybody understands. He says, hey, they're doing a great job. If I need to step in, I'll step in. Nobody gets butthurt about it. We are here to accomplish one thing, and that's win.
I think it helps that you have a quarterback, and so you don't have, because that's always your biggest stressor point. Do you have a quarterback? They didn't have one last year. So now that he has one, he can focus on other things. And if you look at all the position groups outside of offensive line, which is a bit of a hodgepodge right now, it's pretty structured. Like you know who the top guys are going to be in the wide receiver. You know who the top guy is going to be at tight end. And we know who the top guys are going to be in this running back group. And the thing about the offense is Scott Frost likes to run a relatively balanced offense between run and pass. And the run sets up those deep throws to catch defenses napping. You've got a couple of cool cats in Duke Watson coming from Louisville. You got Tavion Swint, who missed last year, who's redshirt freshman. He's got a big chip on his shoulder, wants to prove the world that he's the real deal. And then Landon Chambers from Central Arkansas. Yes. That's their little wrecking ball, who I'm expecting to see in short yardage situations, which they really struggled with last year. So I think you've got a 3-headed monster right there that arguably is better than what they had last year. And of course, if I'm head coach, I'm sleeping a lot better at night knowing I've got those guys in my stable.
And you haven't even brought up pass protection yet, Drew. Landon Chambers and what he can do for as much criticism as some people have levied on the O-line on this channel. Not mention any names, but it rhymes with Drew. But
What?
but that's another element too. And then God help the world in front of him if Landon Chambers is out in front when Alonzo Barnett finds a hole. I'm excited about that aspect.
Speaking of Alonza, 127 carries last year. Look, guys, talk to me about riding the hot hand in the run game. You know, you need balance, but when a guy is hot, you got to let him cook. And then if you're Alonzo Barnett, you also have to realize you have much better talent around you this season. You do not have to put yourself in harm's way to try to win games in the Big 12. Just let your running backs take the brunt of it and then pull it to, you know, as a surprise to keep them off balance. I think they've got a little bit of a three-headed monster there in the run game.
Earth, Wind, and Fire is a thing in the past and other teams too, right, Drew? And I'll even bring this element. I know I made an NFL reference there. I'm going to do it again. And, oh, no, he's going to bring up the Jaguars. No, I'm not. I'm bringing up the Rams because that's also where Scott Frost had some time. And there's something to be said for the way they handled business with that offense and how they did it. But it's not just their offense per se, but a very unique thing that Sean McVay and also Liam Cohen, and now we're going to see it potentially from Scott Frost, is the ability to self-scout. If you have dudes that can be versatile, but are better at a particular thing that is worse at, that another team is worse at, you can attack that weakness, but still change it up enough that they can do something competently and keep it mixed up, right? Like we mentioned Chambers as an example. If you have somebody who's weaker up front, you can attack that with the wrecking ball aspect that Drew mentioned, but Landon Chambers is still enough of a mover that he ain't necessarily slow. It can still do other things to keep plays mixed up and keep them from being predictable when a certain guy's on the field.
Drew, you want to see more or less, over, under 127 carries for Alonzo Barnett in the run game?
Oh, absolutely less. There's no reason that he needs to run that. I mean, when you have a stable of running backs like this, use them. You know, a number of those runs were not designed runs. You know,
That's
I
fair.
think it was somewhere, according to Pro Football Focus, it was somewhere in the 20s that were scrambles. You know, you have your outlets. You know, you have one of the best tight ends in the country. You have a great group, an underrated group of wide receivers. You know, you have a lot of options there. They don't need to have him, you know, play hero ball and carry the offense. You know, this is a really balanced, skilled position group. It all hinges on how the offensive line gels, and we really won't know how that's going to work out until game.
Kyle, before we move on, I think I've asked you this question before, but now that we've got a closer look at what the team looks like here at the end of fall camp, what do you feel like the run pass ratio balance is going to be this season? Are we looking at 50-50, 55-45, 60-40?
Yeah, well, and I know it's going to be better than the past 2 years as far as balance for sure. I might even say that there is a reality where it goes to maybe a 55-45 in favor of pass, because this receiver core is what it is. Let's also remember, Drew, you'll back me on this, that some of the air quotes run game employed by the 17 offense was an extended handoff in the form of bubble screens and other things like that were short passes, but were essentially outside runs. So when you mix those in, and man, listen, how many times we talked about Josh Derry on this show, Mike? Come on. Like at some point, they're going to be throwing the damn football, and the screen is another way to utilize him and a Tavion Swint. Or maybe a Duke Watson, you know, to get that extended outside run game to be a thing. Because at the end of the day, Drew, you know this, no block, no rock for the receivers.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Look, don't forget about my guy Dwayne Thomas in the pass game as well, too. He'll be looking to have a great sophomore season. Let's get to our first break. And when we come back, I want to talk about playing in the bounce house. Southern Heat. Is it the devil or is it the super devil? We'll talk about that next right here on Locked On UCF. This episode of Locked on UCF is brought to you by our friends at none other than The Game. Since 1986, The Game has been creating classic college hats that fans are proud to wear. Whether you're an alumnus, current student, season ticket holder, or simply someone who never misses a game, a great college hat is more than just apparel. Guys, it's a way to represent your school. Where's my hat? Give me my hat. I don't even wear hats like that, but boy, I got this amazing hat from The Game. That's right. Y'all didn't think I would hit y'all with the red UCF hat, but I'm hitting y'all with it for this endorsement. This year, The Game is celebrating its 40th anniversary by giving fans a chance to save on some of their most iconic college hats. Have you been thinking about replacing an old favorite or adding a new one to your collection? Now is the perfect time. Man, this is cutting off my circulation. Guys, head on over to The Game with hundreds of officially licensed college hats to choose from. You'll find the perfect fit for The Game and every day. Don't miss a chance to celebrate 40 years of The Game with 40% off your entire order. Visit thegamecaps.com and use promo code Locked On at checkout. That's thegamecaps.com, promo code Locked On. Celebrate 40 years of The Game with 40% off. But don't wait. This anniversary offer won't last forever. The heat down south is different. It is very different. And as someone who lived in Phoenix, Arizona for 8 years, I can tell you that when I came back to the South, I was like, what in the actual hell is this? What is humidity? I forgot about those guys. I had been gone from the South for so long. I forgot about those days you go outside and want to immediately jump back into the shower.
It's not the heat, it's the humidity.
Oh boy.
Dry heat hits differently. I used to tell my friends that had never been out to the desert, I'd say, we don't really start complaining about the heat out west until it hits about 92 degrees. And they would hear that and they would think 92 is so hot. And I was like, no, actually it feels great. Right? Feels great. 90 feels great. 80 sometimes is even a little chilly, but it's widely considered perfect weather. If you have not,
that's awful.
It's terrible because you got humidity, and if you've never played in it, there will be guys who will come. They will not be hydrated properly. They're not going to understand what it's like to play in the literal sweltering heat. It's going to feel like a jungle to some of these guys trying to play football. And there are 7 teams on UCF's schedule that has to deal with this. I just talked about Phoenix. Arizona State is one of them. Those guys have to travel to the bounce house, and I am so excited for their impending doom when they're cramping up in the first 5 minutes of the game. Guys, talk to me about the Heat, man, playing in the bounce house. Is it the 12th man on the field for UCF in some of these games?
I mean, you can make an argument there. You can also make an argument it's the fans when they stay in the stadium.
Yeah.
When they're there, they can be a very loud and difficult place to play. Ask the 2018 Cincinnati squad. Desmond Ridder had a horrible time dealing with the crowd noise. But yeah, the humidity is definitely a thing. The last car I bought, it was required that it had ventilated seats. That was a deal breaker. And boy, does it come in handy. But when you're on the field and those steel seats are just angling that light into the middle of the field, it gets even hotter. And it's brutal. Kyle, we've both been on the field during our times as Marching Night alums. That is a very hot field to be on.
Oh, it's not even close with that. You're right about that too. Moreover, pads get heavier when you start getting sweating in that heat. But Mike, you mentioned all the difference of the dry heat in Arizona. What makes the heat so wet in Florida? It's the rain first and foremost. How about that as an advantage as well as the heat, right? You remember the Oklahoma State game where Mike Gundy and company forgot the rain gear? I would add this as another element that makes it a whole other advantage for UCF. You don't need to have rain necessarily for your hands to be sweaty as hell trying to reel in and take care of a football.
Yeah, let me explain what the difference in how the heat is going to feel like in the month of August. And again, I'm saying this firsthand knowledge. As someone who is a golfer and liked to golf a lot before my lupus, I loved golfing in the summer because you could go play PGA level courses because nobody
Because
wanted
no
to
one
go
wants
out
to
there
go.
at 110 degrees, guys. 92 degrees Fahrenheit is going to feel like 105 or more to ASU players. It is. It's going to feel, and if you're going outside in 105 degree weather in the desert, I lived in downtown Phoenix in a high rise, and when I would take my dog downstairs, I had to go before sunrise because once the heat came out, the literal asphalt was too hot for her to walk on.
Wild.
And there was no grass. I bought her these little doggy shoes, Andrew, and she would just like flop down and refuse to walk in them. She was like, "What is this? I'm not your circus clown." But you've got a couple months of the year in September and August that it's going to feel very, very hot to opposing defenses and offenses. Is coming into the bounce house trying to take on UCF. If you're Scott Frost, you get your guys outside and you get them, because if any team's going to cramp up, it can't be yours. You keep your guys hydrated, you liquid IVs on the sideline, anything to make sure that they're feeling it and you're not. Right, Drew?
Well, and here's the thing. This is where tempo comes into play. You have a chance to really demoralize and beat down teams. Kyle and I were just reminiscing about the 2018 Pitt game where Coach Pat Narduzzi was having players fake injuries very obviously because they could not handle the tempo that UCF was throwing at them. I mean, there's no reason why history can't repeat itself where teams have to basically fake injuries to try to stop, UCF's momentum because, if you're not able to handle this kind of heat, this is where tempo ball really kicks in.
Yeah, man, listen, just because it was Heupel running that offense, UC Fast came with Frost first. I don't see any reason they can't do that some this year.
Yeah, I don't want to get too nerdy about this, but when you look at the dew points,
out, man.
when you look at the dew points, one thing that we used to joke about out in Phoenix is while it's extremely hot, a lot of times we don't sweat because it's dry heat and your body it's just evaporating off of you, right? In Orlando, the air is loaded with moisture, so it comes off of you less efficiently, and you're just drenched in sweat, and it can be extremely hard on the lungs, and it's difficult. It's almost it's a similar effect, but in an opposite kind of way of like when players go play an extremely high altitude. If you're not,
I was going to bring that up.
In that, yeah, and suddenly you're not breathing as efficiently. Your lungs aren't handling oxygen as efficiently because it's not used to that. A lot of players will go train in higher elevations to try to increase their lung capacity by training in thinner air. I don't know, man. This may sound silly, but how many times have we been watching a college football game and cramp, player after player is going down, and it looks like, so they got sabotaged, and it's like, no, you sabotaged yourself. You knew what the heat was going to be like down in the bounce house. Look, let's get to our last break, and when we come back, guys, we're going to take a look at the brand new $90 million Roth Tower. I'm very excited about this show topic. We'll be right back with the brand new Roth Tower 2.0 right here on Locked On UCF. This episode of Locked On UCF is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook and sports betting partner of the MLB. Baseball fans, if you think you know who's hitting a homer today, FanDuel is giving you a free chance to call your shot with daily dingers. It's easy to play. Just make your free pick for who you think will hit a home run, and if you get it right, you'll receive a profit boost to use on your next bet for a chance at extra winnings. Best of all, you can make a free pick every day throughout the MLB season. Daily dingers is another fun way to stay engaged with every day's games. Whether you're following your team or keeping an eye on matchups across the league, every game has someone capable of going deep. Now you get a chance to make your prediction before the first pitch. So if you're ready to play your game, join all the action at FanDuel.com. That's FanDuel.com to play daily dingers and make your free pick on who's hitting a homer. Play ball and swing for the fences on FanDuel, an official partner of Major League Baseball. Roth Tower 2.0. When I visited, it was still under construction. Well, it's done. And they had a little party to celebrate, and we are going to take a look at Roth Tower 2.0. I'm going to cycle through some pictures here before we land on some bullet points about the Roth Tower. This is a picture from the outside with the Knight statue. This is such a, they did a really good job on these pictures. You can get a look at some of the premium bar and seating areas from the inside as well. Can't stress enough, they did a fantastic job with this. This is the view of the field from Roth Tower. Now, the new media press box is supposed to be up here, so this should be the view, Drew and Kyle, that you guys get of the game. And I can someone who's been in a ton of press boxes, I can tell you that that's not always a great view. There are bars in the way, like important bars, like safety support beam stuff, so that it doesn't fall down. But still, it's in my way. I'm trying to watch football, and you trying to make us safe.
That's because the stadium you go to is old.
It just really gets on my nerves. You could see kind of like they had a media unveiling of the inside here. Terry Mahajer gave an interview, a very good interview. You can find that on YouTube about the new Roth Tower here. This is going to be a lot of premium seating. I'm going to run through this. UCF celebrated the completion of the Roth Tower project made possible by a $90 million commitment of tourist development tax revenues from Orange County. The tower increases premium capacity, expands suite offerings, and provides unique event opportunities year-round, attracting more fans, visitors, and events to Kenneth G. Dixon Athletics Village beyond game days. The design is uniquely UCF, with nods to the university's roots as America's space university and its location in one of the most desirable tourist destinations globally. UCF, the nation's youngest Power 4 institution, is celebrating the 20th anniversary of its on-campus stadium this season and holds its first game there September 3rd versus Bethune-Cookman, as we've mentioned frequently. Whew. Okay, I got through all that. Drew, $90 million. This is a very interesting deal that they worked out here. Break this down for us, man, about how this $90 million came to be.
Well, so part of how the tourist development tax works is it's acquired through hotel stays and stuff of that nature from tourists. And it then goes back to projects that can increase tourism. And so UCF made a pitch to build this tower, which was always part of the plan. It's not easy to find, but there is an old black and gold banneret article that has the original picture of the expanded stadium plans from the mid 2000s before the stadium was fully built. And so the plan was always to eventually expand Roth Tower. It was always going to have that little bit of a curved structure to it. And then eventually they could build an upper deck. So this was essentially was the lowest hanging fruit with the highest return on investment. They have chance to improve on the number of luxury seats and suites and loge boxes and club. They also have the ability to improve television production, because that's part of this too. A lot of UCF's TV productions flow through Roth Tower. That's where a lot of the production is done. So they're able to update the equipment and the wiring, because it was getting very out of date. I mean, there was wires everywhere by the time they were ready to tear the old one down. And then this, as you've alluded to, this goes beyond football. They can host events and weddings and conferences and other stuff. So now you have the ability, and this is where the TDT part really kicks in, is you have the ability to bring outside stuff in that can improve on your tourism, because now you have people staying in local hotels. That's why they did this. But this was the lowest hanging fruit that UCF could do that would also bring them the most money.
Before I say my piece, Kyle, there were some in the UCF space that felt like more general seating was needed over something like this. I literally had it described to me as a $90 million vanity project. over just making more seats for people in the bounce house. I don't know that I agree with that sentiment, but can you talk about why something like this from your perspective is needed to help move your program forward?
Because you got to make the boosters interested first. They hold the money. Listen, and no disrespect to the groundling that wants the general seating. I see where they're coming from. I'm not mad at them for feeling that way. But the reality of college football is you need to handle the money first, right? And making comfortable the people that contribute to the university to have a better time. And by the way, something else that made this whole tourism thing, how many BYU people were absolutely raving how good a time they had coming to the bounce house in the past, right? It's a whole thing that I think kind of leans into making a better reputation for UCF overall. I think there's a lot of that there, a lot of focus on the broadcast stuff up in those booths as well to enhance that opportunity to bring in other events. I would like to see some more Cure Bowls held there possibly if Camping World finds himself too expensive and too busy catering to the Jaguars coming in next year.
Yeah, my 2 cents, and Drew, you mentioned it already, but turning it into a revenue generating space is something that I love that idea. Rent it out, right? You know, how many UCF people might want to hold a wedding reception there? Follow me on this one. A man, a girl, a guy, or I don't know what you're into, but a guy,
Mike, Drew and I know people that if they could have done this, would have done this.
Yeah,
That's
right. You both went to
UCF. Not far-fetched at all.
Yeah, right. You both went to UCF, and you wanted to have a UCF centric wedding reception or something like that, and making the space rentable is a great idea. And I got to imagine during the times of year where it will actually be available, which should be kind of like January through July, this is a fantastic way for it to I don't know how long it'll take them to make $90 million renting it out, but certainly if you hire a good management company and you manage the space rights, you can recoup a lot of the cost that it costs to construct it. But immediately making it revenue generating is a great idea.
Yeah, I'm just saying, some of us have posed for an actual wedding photo, lining up at center, offering a snap to the groom. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah. So, Mike, I want to throw a couple more things out there as to why this and not the other, like expand the stadium. You've seen it. Like, it wasn't complete, but you've seen it. This redefines the stadium. Like you look at the stadium and it looks completely different, even though nothing else changed. It is a completely different place. So optics are big. This gives the stadium a much more luxurious look to it. And that's another thing. When you're trying to sell the brand, you need that look. And just adding seats, that's great. But the other thing is there's not enough demand for it. UCF is close to being at that 45,000 mark. It's actually a little bit less, where they are selling out more consistently. They hit the mark numerous times. They miss it a little bit here and there. Depends on when the game is, but they need to follow the Louisville model, which is do that for multiple years, build up that demand, make people trying to beat down the door to get into the stadium. Then you start the building. But right now, UCF does not have enough fans to fill a 60,000 seat stadium. The stadium was originally designed with 65,000 in mind. With the increase in club seating, it's probably somewhere between 62, 64 range. But UCF just doesn't have enough following to get to that point. Doesn't mean it can't happen, but it's just not there today. So you go with what you can most guarantee to sell. I mean, it's just basic business sense on this one. And it completely redefines the stadium. It looks gorgeous. And now when you see, that overhead view of the stadium, you don't see this little teeny thing that was from the Conference USA days. You see this beautiful, long, tower that just looks and screens modern and luxurious.
Look, I'm all about this. I think that it can help your program in a ton of ways. Now the burden is on Scott Frost. Go win games so that there is interest in people just wanting to be there. He's got to make UCF football the hottest ticket in town. And once that happens, I think there are unlimited revenue opportunities for something like the Roth Tower 2.0. Guys, Kyle Nash, Andrew Gluchov, senior writers, UCFKnightZone.com. I want to thank you for joining me on today's show, talking a little UCF football. Great discussion today, guys. Hit the comments after the video. Let us know what you think about the brand new Roth Tower. Does it look great? Waste of $90 million? We want to hear from you. Also, let us know how many opponents will the UCF Heat take down this, hopefully all of them, all the home games. There's 7 of them. I want everybody to go down to the humidity. And then let us know what you think about the run game. We want to hear from you. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, guys. Help keep us the #1 UCF podcast out there. We'll see you guys tomorrow right here on Locked On UCF.